time now for a look at the day's business news, and I'm joined on set by Brian Quinn. Brian, good morning.
Hi, Allison.
Brian, you are starting in the U.S., where the month of October is shaping up to be a very big month of labor action across the country.
It's a phenomenon that's gotten its own nickname and, of course, its own hashtag. Call it Striketober. Over 100,000 American workers are either currently on strike or preparing to strike very soon. 10,000 employees at farm machinery producer John Deere walked off the job Thursday for higher pay and better working conditions. 1,400 factory workers at snack food giant Kellogg are on strike as well, along with thousands of New York hospital staffers. The biggest could be yet to come, though. Some 60,000 members of Hollywood's set worker union, the IATSE, are getting ready to walk out Monday if studios don't agree to shorter working hours, longer downtime, and better pay for the lowest earners. The strike boom is coming after decades of decline in the U.S. organized labor movement. A tightening labor market, though, is shifting the balance of power in the workplace, something the Biden administration says it's happy to see.
As unemployment drops, our economy is shifting to a labor market where workers have more bargaining power. Ultimately, that's a good thing for workers to have more bargaining power and be able to choose more. That means workers can push for higher wages and more dignity and respect in the workplace. So this has long been a fundamental value for the president, something he'll continue to support broadly across the country.
And meanwhile, Brian, the French government says that it's time for the U.S. and Europe to move past those trade disputes of the Trump era.
Yeah, French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire is in Washington this week for the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. While there, he's looking to patch up trade relations between Europe and the U.S., which took a beating under former President Donald Trump. One key remnant of those trade disputes, American tariffs of 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum. Le Maire says the two sides need to settle the issue so that they can work together on overcoming the ongoing supply chain disruptions that are hobbling the global economic recovery. Here's Le Maire.
Let's get rid of those points of contention between the United States and Europe as quickly as possible. They're useless, they're counterproductive, and they prevent us from working on much more important issues, such as difficulties to procure raw materials, difficulties to procure semiconductors, and creating new technologies.
All right, Brian, let's take a look at the markets. How are they shaping up so far today?
A European index is opening higher on the heels of a big rally for Wall Street on Thursday. Big earnings reports for U.S. banks helping to push market gains worldwide. London up around 0.33%. The CAC 40 here in Paris just slightly ahead as investors wait for the latest data on French inflation due out this morning. Asian indexes made some significant gains Friday on the back of that Wall Street rally. Investors looking ahead to China's third quarter GDP figures due to come out on Monday, with Hong Kong up around 1.3%. The Nikkei in Tokyo up 1.8% as a weak yen continues to boost Japanese exporters.
And next, Thursday marked the end of an era for Italian air travel, but a new low-cost chapter is set to begin, Brian.
It's arrivederci for Italian flagship carrier Alitalia as the 74-year-old airline's final flight landed in Rome last night. Friday, though, brings the launch of Italia Trasporto Aereo, ITA for short. The new downsized airline will inherit 52 of Alitalia's 110 jets and 2,800 of the former company's 10,000 employees. The Italian government is investing €1.25 billion in the new company over the coming 3 years after failing to find a private buyer to rescue Alitalia in 2020. Well, to approve that handover, the European Commission has insisted on clear discontinuity between the old and new airlines, along with profitability for ITA by 2026. Analysts say that could be a heavy lift.
Italy is a very important global market, but now in many respects, the territory is claimed. So it's going to be a struggle for the airline to find its way. There could be some loyalty amongst Italian customers, but it's an airline which is going to start off much smaller than Alitalia was in its heyday, and in a market which is not only competitive, but of course damaged by the very structure of the ongoing crisis we see from a pandemic.
And finally, for business, Sothebys is expanding its auctions of art that doesn't even physically exist.
That's right. The iconic auction house has just launched a new platform dedicated to the sale of NFTs. That's non-fungible tokens. Those are digital files whose uniqueness and authenticity are verified using the same blockchain technology that powers the cryptocurrency Ethereum. When nearly unheard of in the art market just a year ago, NFTs now represent 2% of global sales. In March, a digital collage by American artist Beeple sold at Christie's for over $69 million. In July, Sothebys sold the original source code files to the World Wide Web for nearly $5.5 million. Well, this new platform, with the rather apt name of Metaverse, will have 2 auctions per year. The first is set to begin on October 18th, so get your crypto wallet.
I have to say, Brian, I'm not interested in NFTs, but I can't actually afford any of it anyway, so it doesn't even matter. All right, Brian Quinn, thank you very much for that business update. We are